Hey guys, Coach Adam talking to you again today with some huge news that just dropped from the IFBB that's going to have severe impact on the bikini and the men's physique divisions. They just announced the qualification system for next year's Olympia, and we are no longer going to be seeing 70 people in the bikini division in 2026, which is crazy to even say. 2025 is going to have over 70 competitors in that division. That is just nuts. So is this a good move? Is this a bad move? Let's jump into it. So first thing I want to go into is going to be how long the shows are and what we're asking of actually the judges, and if it's actually necessary to have 70 people to find who the best in the world is, right? We have to figure that out. We have to ask ourselves, what are we really asking of the judges over the Olympia weekend? Can any human, no matter who they are, one of the best judges in the world, Sandy Williamson, can she work 50 hours of pure judging in a period of 4 days and still be at her absolute best? I don't know. That's a tough ask from anyone. So let's look at those real numbers. So I went into it. I wanted to see, okay, what are we really asking of these judges to be at their best, right? So on day one, on Friday, was 4 hours, 57 minutes, 55 seconds of judging. Friday night finals was another 5 hours and 40 minutes. Saturday prejudging, where the Bikini Olympia is taking place, 7 hours, right? So those big divisions, you could see how long it's adding to the mix, right? 7 hours versus Friday's judging of 5 hours. So 2 additional hours. And then the night show was 4 hours for finals, 4 hours, 9 minutes, 57 seconds for Saturday's finals. So what are we asking of the judges? We're asking them to work 21 and 3/4 hours, right? So let's call it 22 hours in a period of 2 days and being their absolute best. Now, remember what's at stake here, right? What is at stake? We're crowning the best person in the world across multiple divisions. We have the best judges in the world at this show, and we're asking them, hey, I need to be at your best. I need to be your sharpest for 22 hours of judging the best in the world, which it's so hard to judge at that level. You got to remember, when you're comparing these top athletes, you're comparing Laura Lee versus Ashley versus Amy versus Jazzy versus Ashlyn, right? Versus Vanya. How are you going to first, even on your best day in bikini especially, how do you decide who's better between those physiques, right? They're all so good. You can make an argument for any of them in that top 5, top 10 to really to win the Olympia. In bikini, there's a lot of arguments for it. So now you're asking one to get the best athletes in the world and figure out in a subjective division like bikini who is better. And then you're asking also the best judges in the world to work 22 hours in 2 days to make a life-changing decision for someone across multiple divisions to make that big of detail. Now, it's not just 22 hours. Remember, there's also the amateur show that goes on before that, which is just as long, if not longer, than the pro divisions, right? So the amateur shows are starting on Wednesday. So you have Wednesday they're working, Thursday they're working, Friday they're working, Saturday they're working. Are you at your best? Are you visually at your best if you've been sitting in front of a computer and doing whatever analytics in front of a computer for, let's say, 50 hours with travel, with being off your schedule, without working out because you're sitting in a chair from morning till night? Like, is that realistic of us to ask of the judges to be their best at that time? I don't think so. I'm not my best working like that. I don't know if you guys are, and I don't think any human we can really request that of them, right? Not only that, but you're making a life-changing decision for someone. Whoever's Miss Olympia, Mr. Olympia, their life is completely different for the next year and maybe for the rest of their life. So we're asking them to put that type of pressure on them working this much, right? I don't think it's fair of us to ask that of them. I think it's a little bit unrealistic to have 70, or even unnecessary to have 70 bikini competitors doing this, doing their prejudging, doing their routines. And these bikini competitors, their routines are getting longer and longer and longer. I mean, we're going to be at probably 2 hours of just in posing routines alone in this year's bikini, if they don't do anything about the posing routines, because these posing routines on these bikini girls are now taking 90 seconds for them to hit a front and back pose. And that's just the reality of things. I'm a bikini coach, right? My athletes are under a minute on their posing routines. Most of them are going to be around 45 seconds on their posing routines, because I know from the judges specifically, the high level judges have told me the longer they're on stage, Adam, the more flaws we see. When we first see them, we're excited to see them. and we see, wow, they look really good. And then the longer they're on there, they start thinking, oh, well, actually, she could be a little tighter. And they start seeing the flaws. So if you're competing in the Olympia, understand that feedback has came to me from the highest level judges. They said they don't want to see you on stage that long. They start seeing flaws the longer you're on stage. Bikini is only a front and back pose. I don't know why they're taking so long. This is what they're telling me. Okay, this is not my, now, of course, I don't, of course, want to sit in that chair for 2 hours watching posing routines for, 65 girls who aren't going to get a medal, right? That's just the reality of things as a fan, right? But the judges are also saying the same thing. So this is something to take into account. If you're doing the Bikini Olympia, keep your posing routine short and sweet. I don't know if they're going to do anything at this year's Olympia for that, but let's go ahead and go into now why everything changed so dramatically. All right, so the new rules are out. Let's go over them. Top 25 in the point standings qualify for the Olympia. So we're only going to see 25 by way of points. Also, of course, if you won the Olympia, you're going to be automatically in for the next year. So any previous Olympia winners. So when we look at the previous Olympia winners, if Jennifer Dory wants to come back, Laura Lee, Ashley, Issa, Maureen, they're all in. If Angelica wants to come back, she's in too. So there could be, if all 6 of them did that, there'd be 31 that would be allowed. But also, who automatically gets in the next year is going to be second and third place. So whoever gets in second and third place, that following will be in following. So at most, we're going to see 33, but that's pretty unlikely. I think the most we're going to see is, 3 Olympia people return. That Ashley's going to compete a couple times. She's not going to take up any slots now. So for all those people who are worried about Ashley taking up your Olympia slot, she can compete and win 20 shows, and there'll still be the same number of girls. 25 girls will still get in by way of points. So if anything, she's going to be blocking some points, but it wouldn't be blocking like a win for someone getting into the Olympia and their only chance. So who does this point system really affect negatively? It does have impact. Here's the thing, guys. We had this point system before, and a lot of people complained about it. And their complaints were valid because there is a solid argument for it. But the argument that I have that goes against it is, as a fan, I don't think we need to see 70 people plus. It's actually going to be more than 70 people on stage to find the best of the best. I don't think that it's necessary. I think that if you get it down to, around 30, 28 people, we are going to be able to find the best of the best from there. Now, this does change the game a little bit, and I think that there's some positives for it. Now, the negatives for it and why people fought against it before was, one of the biggest reasons that people were fighting against it before was that it had a lot of effect with people who didn't have the finances to chase the points, which is a valid argument. I'm not going to disagree with that. There's some people who had, more money, and they were able to do more shows, and they were able to chase those points a little harder than other people. If you can fly to Florida, the UK, New York, and all over without any effect on your pocketbook, it's like, it's fine, whatever, $2,000 for a show or $4,000 for a show doesn't bother me at all. Then yeah, you're going to be able to do more shows. You're going to have an advantage. You're going to be able to chase points more that maybe other people who say they live in California, they don't have a big bank, and they can only drive to shows in Vegas, Arizona, and California, right? Big disadvantage. Plus, they're in markets that are more saturated versus going to other places like maybe UK and Hawaii and all these different places where it's a little bit more cost preventative, right? So yeah, there is going to be that effect. Now, what are the other effects of it? Who else does it affect? What also affects the girls that can only compete 1 to 2 times a year because they don't stay lean throughout the year. So if you look at people who naturally stay a little bit leaner, they're going to have an advantage in this system. So if you look at people like Tiana, Ashley, who stay leaner all throughout the year, they're going to have an advantage in a system versus someone who could only peak once a year and can't stay lean all year. That's going to be a big disadvantage for someone who can't continuously stay lean for, it might take you 3 months in a row of competing. You might need to compete and be stage lean for 3 months, not just 3 months of competing, but be stage lean, competing multiple times throughout those 3 months to accumulate enough points. And then on top of that, you're going to also have to be aware and stay lean the rest of the year because you don't know where those points are going to end up, and you might need to compete again. You might think you're safe, but then there might be someone towards the end of the year that's chasing all these shows that knocks you out of it. Now, what does that do for the competitor? Well, it does a couple things. One, Bikini is getting really big, right? They're getting more muscular, and they are trying to keep the division from growing even more. But the problem is when you have top athletes showing up more and more muscular, who are the judges going to pick from, right? And as the coaches, what we see on our end, because it's this constant battle we have with the judges, is the judges have to pick who the best one is that day. If someone gets a little more muscular and a little more muscular and a little more muscular, and it's still the best girl there, well, guess what? The judges are going to pick the girl that's a little more muscular. If the coaches see the girl that's a little more muscular, a little more muscular, a little more muscular winning shows, guess what the coaches have to do? They have to get the girls a little bit more muscular, right? So it's this evolving battle of us keeping up with what's winning as the coaches and the judges having to pick from who's getting better and more muscular. And the next thing you know, bikini looks like figure, which it looks like now, right? That it's leaner and more muscular than figure used to be back in the day. Now, and we're in bikini, and that's why fit model is now here, right? So we have fit model to keep it down. So what does this naturally do to? It also keeps the size from growing a little bit, right? If people are competing more often and they're having to stay leaner to keep that points in check in their mind, saying, I have to keep these points in my mind because someone just got 2 points closer to me this weekend. Someone just got 10 points closer to me this weekend. I got to kind of keep it in tight just in case I have to do some more shows again. Well, then that would be, you're going to have to stay leaner. And so when you're staying leaner throughout the year, you're not having these huge like bulking periods throughout the year where I'm going to compete twice a year and I'm going to gain all the way to that point. So hopefully this will keep the size down in bikini too and make it more of the, the beach body division it was supposed to originally be. Keep it the I can be fit all year division, which is what bikini originally was intended to do. It wasn't intended to be basically a bodybuilding show for a more petite female. It was originally designed, hey, this is like the ultimate beach body division where it's something that you can maintain all year. But let's be realistic, 90% of people can't maintain that level of muscle and being that lean all year. But now this is going to change that. It's going to be very difficult to see that level of muscle on some of these girls, not on all these girls. You have some people that are just genetically able to stay leaner and have really set their mindset to staying leaner all year that can do it. But for a good majority of them are not able to. They need their breaks. They need their off seasons. They need time to kind of gain. They need those extra calories to keep that level of muscle. It's not for everyone to be able to do it. So it's gonna weed some people out. It is definitely going to do that. And I think that there's no way to have the best of both worlds. You can't have win and you're in, because you're going to have 80 people at the Olympia, right? Eventually it's going to be 80 because there's more and more shows happening. You can't have just 25, 30, right? Because if you do, then you're going to have people that don't have as much money not able to compete as much. So you have to find the best of both worlds. And I do think that when we're asking of the judges to be their best and to pick to pick the absolute best person in the world, I don't think you need 70 people to do it. I think that you can do it with 25. I think the judges will make better decisions when there's only 25 people and they're working instead of 22 hours of focused judging. And people think, 22 hours in 2 days isn't that bad. I'm a nurse. I work 12 hours in a day, 2 days in a row. This is 22 hours of focused, intense. Is this girl's body better than this girl's body? When the fractions of better is so minimal that it's like you can't even see it days later sometimes when you're fully refreshed, sitting in chairs that are probably not the most ideal chairs at whatever's at the expo that day, right? And then doing it for 4 days in a row. It's so much to ask, guys. It's so much to ask of them, and they're just human. I couldn't do it for that level of time. It would be difficult for me to honestly say, yes, I was my absolute best when I made that decision. These guys are better than me at it, of course, but for me, that would be difficult doing what I do. If I was doing my job and people are checking in every week and I'm seeing them and I'm working, with 500 clients plus, I'm not going to be my best. That's why I only take on about 50 clients myself. So it's a difficult thing to ask. So going into the other rules, let's go ahead and look at the point system itself. So there's going to be like a tier 1, tier 2 kind of system in points. So if you get first place at the Arnold, the Pittsburgh Pro, the New York Pro, the Romania Muscle Fest, or Dubai Pro, there's an automatic qualification. Okay, so excuse what I said earlier. There are actually going to be 30 guaranteed spots plus the 2 spots, plus the 2 additional spots from second and third place at the Olympia. So that's going to put us at 32 plus whatever prior Olympians who didn't win a show that year get automatically in. So I'm sorry, we're going to see probably 35-ish. I had to go over these rules again. This is brand new, just came out. So you're going to get 14 points for second. You're going to get 11 points for third. Fourth is going to be 9, and fifth will be 7 points. All other shows is going to be 10 for first, 4 for second, 3 for third, 2 for fourth, and 1 for fifth. So we are going to see ourselves a points race at the end of the year. This is pretty exciting as a fan. I got to admit, when this system was around, I was having a lot of fun as an excitement as a, not just a coach, because I'm a coach, but I'm a fan too. I love seeing girls accomplish their dreams and get to the Olympia. I mean, those moments are pretty awesome to see as a fan. It's like, when I was playing hockey, I would love seeing when guys would win the Stanley Cup and you'd see them win it and you're like, oh my gosh, that's such a cool moment to just watch and just take in. You're going to get a lot of that at these points shows at the end, because I've been in this situation where I needed 2 points, just to get in. I needed someone to hold for 2 points. I needed a girl to get 6th place instead of 5th place at this show for one of my athletes to get to the Olympia. And I've missed it a couple of times too in that points race. And man, it's heartbreaking. But you see someone do it and it's all coming down to the end and it's getting really exciting. And it's like, oh, she needs 3 points and she needs 5 points. And if this girl doesn't place top 5, she gets in. And if she places just 5th, she gets in. And so all these things happen towards the end at the last shows. And it gets so exciting and everyone's watching. The excitement's there. It's a lot different than, hey, 70 people are in. Someone else got in. Who's that girl? I don't know who that girl is. She got in. She won a show with 6 people and it overseas. I don't know. But this is going to eliminate that, which I'm really happy about, because that does happen where there's going to be a show where, 10 people are in it overseas. You don't know any of the names and now she's an Olympian, right? So this is going to be a total game changer. I think it's for the best. I'm glad the Olympia did this. I'm glad it's going to help, I think, with the judges and keeping their eyes sharp. Not that they haven't been sharp, but it's going to be helpful. I think everyone can admit they wouldn't be their best working that much in a couple days with extreme focus. So I think this is a net positive. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who aren't super thrilled about it. I think people who don't stay as lean and don't have big pocketbooks to chase shows. Yeah, sorry, it is a little bit of a disadvantage for you. That's just the reality of things. It's going to be a little bbit more expensive to get to the Olympia now because you're not doing it in one show. Unless, hey, if you want to do it in one show, go win Pittsburgh, go win the New York. We'll see what Amy has to say about that, of course. Go win Romania or Dubai. That's going to be, those shows you can do. You don't need to get invited to those shows. The only show you need to get invited to on this list that's automatically qualifies you is the Arnold. But hey, if you're that good, go win those shows, go battle with the best and get in the Olympia. So, but the rest of it, yeah, it's going to be a points race. It's going to be, you're going to have to do multiple shows. You're going to have to stay lean for a longer period of time. It is what it is, but that's what we're trying to find in this division is, I think it makes it more about the right division. It makes it more about the division how it was intended to be, which is a division you're supposed to be lean and ultimate beach body all year. It's not supposed to be, hey, you look good one time a year only. The rest of the year you're bulking, because this is essentially bodybuilding on a female petite frame. That's not what this division was created for. This division was created for longevity, for you to be fit all year, to have the ultimate beach body. Originally was designed for a girl who works out all the time, but she realized she was going on a vacation and just dieted for maybe a month to get on the beach. That was the original definition of the division. So this is going to help it get back there a little bit. I, for one, am very excited about it. I love the points race. I think it's fun. It creates some excitement, especially at the end. As a coach, I think it's the best thing. For the prestige of the Olympia, I think that it's the best thing. I do think the Olympia has lost a little bit of the prestige because of how many people are in there. Is it really one of those things that has a lot of prestige behind it if 1,000 people are getting to the Olympia a year? Is it still that prestigious? I think it loses a little bit of it, to be honest. And I'm glad that more people are getting there. I have multiple athletes there this year too, and I think it's awesome. I'm happy that everyone's there, but it does say a little bit more if only 25 can get there, right? It says more that way. So I'm happy about it. I think it's good for the branding of the Olympia to do that. I think it's good for the pocketbooks of the Olympia too. Imagine funding 1,000 people. It's not 1,000, but imagine funding that many people. It's hundreds and hundreds of people getting to the Olympia. You got to pay for their flight, their hotel. So at a certain point, it's just cost. It doesn't make sense financially to do this as well. So good job, IFBB. I'm very happy about it. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of negatives and positives with it. I, for one, am 100% in support of this one. I think it is the right decision. I liked it when it was here. Yeah, it was hard as hell. I had to grind some people out to get them there, but it is what it is. We'll do it again. I'm very, very excited about this one. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Remember, my Olympia prediction video is coming. There is going to be a cash prize if you get the Olympia prediction right. So make sure to like and subscribe so you see that video when it comes out so you could be entered into the contest. I'm also going to be doing an Olympia trip giveaway this year to one viewer who gets close or closest to the predictions in the comments of that prediction video. So a full Olympia trip. We'll see you here in 2026, courtesy of Team Elite Physique. As always, teamelitephysique.com for worldwide online contest prep. I'll talk to you guys next time.